Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 130. It's Iliya here, and as always I am super grateful to have you on the channel. And this is probably the last weekly outlook and setups for the year, and we're finishing with a very nice round number 130. That is very nice. So in this video I am going to give you kind of a brief update and outlook on what happened this week, what kind of opportunities we have, and what we can potentially expect in the upcoming week. However, we're getting into the week of holidays, right? Bank holidays as well, so I'm not really sure how much movement we're gonna have. Of course, there could be some intraday moves. As always, actually this week we did not have great trending markets, but intraday we had some great opportunities, but I haven't taken any trades this week. I didn't trade on Monday. On Tuesday I was traveling. On Wednesday I tried to trade on Wednesday, but at that time the market was really choppy, awaiting FOMC later in the night. And then Thursday and Friday I also skipped as I was with my family already, so I wasn't really focused also to trade. So I'm pretty much finishing the year working on other things, on other projects as well. Also thinking of some YouTube content, more educational pieces of content as well for next year to develop. So guys, let me know in the comments, what do you want to see from me? I receive a lot of comments that I take note of every single one of them, and I have it in my YouTube to-do list. So if you struggle with something, or if you want me to speak about something, either psychology, technicals, or anything else that you have an idea that will definitely help you out in your trading, make sure to mention it down in the comments. And yeah, as I mentioned in this video, we're gonna have a brief look at the markets and see what we can expect for the upcoming week. If you're new to this channel, it's all about trading. I share this weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week I share an educational piece of content or a trading setups breakdown video. Make sure you are subscribed. Turn on the notification bell in order not to miss when the videos are coming out. And of course, I am trading some cryptos nowadays as well. And I do it with Forex.com. It is a great broker that have a no commission account, but I would suggest that you open an eco account, because there you pay a little commission, but for every single lot that you trade, it goes towards planting 10 trees. And I really think this is an amazing initiative, so make sure to check them out. Link will be down in the description. And if you already did, let's head for this video. Alright, as always, let's start with a Dixie. So there are a couple of economic developments right now, economic events that we should pay attention to. You probably remember, I think it was on Wednesday, FOMC and interest rate decision as well. So I want to show you pretty much, I have prepared 3 important things for you in terms of the fundamental analysis. So pretty much the Fed said that they're gonna increase the rates as soon as of March. Okay, so this is pretty bullish for the dollar, because the rate increase means that the currency will also appreciate, right? And as you can see, there is alarmingly high inflation, and pretty much all the central banks are right now thinking of increasing the rates. And it's going to be a little bit too hard to balance, because if everybody starts to increase the rate, then we have to compare which rates are higher than the other one, pretty much do the comparison between the countries. And this is going to determine, for example, how the euro is going to go against the US dollar, right? So pretty much we're getting into this time, which is going to be in 2022. I do believe we're going to have a lot of rate increases because they have been kept very low. Inflation has been getting quite alarming. And of course, with the virus, things are, still kind of shaking a little bit. But of course, the real crash should begin if we, of course, do not get another outbreak or another variant out there. I really hope this will not happen. But pretty much, the Fed says that they're going to increase the interest rate, which immediately pushes buyers into the dollar, right? So everybody right now is in expectation for the rate increase. And also, if you remember, with the tapering process, the asset purchase program is going to end, which means, again, less dollars into the economy, which is even more bullish for the dollar. So definitely, and we already saw the reaction that we printed a bullish candle this week, all right? The other important note is the Bank of England already increased the rates to 0.25. They were 0.1 and they increased them. And this immediately kind of drove a lot of bullishness onto the pound. So they kind of had a modest rise in interest rate. But of course, this is also pretty bullish with the pound, and we saw a massive long on GU, which some of my community members managed to catch. And yeah, this is another important thing. The ECB still kept them the same, but they're pretty hawkish as well, which means bullish. They also think that rate is gonna climb very soon. And there is a little graph that I want to share with you as well, because you might not be very aware how the rate hikes. So there is a very nice summary right here. So pretty much what we have to focus on right now is on the third column right here. And pretty much, yeah, this one, or actually that one right there, because again, as I said, the Fed are expecting a rise. So we have this situation, the market expects a rise, but imagine if they actually hold it. If something happens, maybe another outbreak appears, or maybe something happens, so they decide, okay, cool, it's not the right time to increase the rate, so they're going to hold them, which is going to lead to a depreciation of the currency. Okay, so this is another thing that maybe the dollar is going to give us a little bit of a bullishness, but then imagine that they actually hold the rates instead of raising them, as they say, then this is going to be really bearish for the dollar, and we can possibly have a bigger pullback. Okay, and of course they said that it's going to happen as soon as March. Okay, so we might have like 1 or 2 or 3 months of holding the rates, which is going to be actually a little bit of bearish for the dollar, which is good because it's going to provide us with a pullback. Okay, but study this chart, it's going to be really helpful. It's like a great summary that will teach you what to do when it comes to those interest rates. Okay, so let's actually jump onto the technicals right now. There was not a lot of development into the early week, but as you can see, we're closing as a bullish candle. We broke the previous weekly high, and potentially we're headed towards this high right here in the week. And we're still kind of in this trading within this weaker range. Of course, we expected a pullback, but the market has been chopping around for 3 weeks. And again, we expected the pullback, but as I keep telling you, the market was bullish. All right, and if we quickly check the daily, I also mentioned to you this demand level, it was never broken. And yeah, you can see that we have been chopping around for quite some time. So again, in terms of the trend, it is absolutely chopping around. It is a consolidation, but when it comes to intraday opportunities, well, guys, you can always find some, right? There are always some, and my community managed to take some great trades as well. So pretty much what I shared with you this week, I think it was on Wednesday, was this level, because we were building up liquidity right there on the top, on the bottom. And this was the last area that the market actually introduced supply. And as you can see right here on the 15th of December, which I'm not sure, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday on the Fed decision, we had a sharp spike into this level and a massive drop down. All right, but what we simply did is we took out the orders from this level. The market tried to push up, but did it cause anything major? Well, not really. It just kind of reacted from this kind of edge of price, which is also demand. This is also demand. Let me change it to blue. It looked like it broke like this sort of structure right there, which is kind of a little bit bearish, but still we did not really make a great low, which according to me means that this high right there did not create anything. So it could also be broken with this one. So pretty much my expectations are again bullish for the Dixie, but right now what we're gonna encounter is this, which we're already inside into kind of on Monday. We're gonna open inside this very big supply, which again is just a big wick right on the hour. But again, a lot of supply was introduced right there. The market massively pushed down, but as you can see, then we come inside this lower region right there, and on the 15-minute we clearly saw the signs. And I think this was also on Friday. There was a beautiful short and a beautiful long, beautiful short on EU, which was also suggested by the DXY. Like right here, you can actually see that we had like a little pullback. Then the market shifted right here. On the 15, we pull back, we respect this low right there. Then what we do is we break this sort of structure, break of structure. And then what we simply had is a retest right there. Come on. Higher low. Then we had a break higher high, another higher low. And then from then we just exploded higher. All right. So really on market open, I wouldn't love to go against this momentum. Not that I will be trading, but let's just imagine that we're going to be trading next week. So what I'm going to be looking for is to potentially see how the market is going to react from this level. But I just see that the overall sentiment and with the fundamentals as well, the dollar is bullish. So what we could have is maybe a little reaction as a pullback, but then possibly we can create a higher low and head for the highs. Okay, maybe some sort of level to look on the 15-minute. Nothing too much, it's just a straight push to the upside. So this can pull back anywhere, stop to create the higher low formation, and then we can start pushing into the highs. What I would advise you to do is to wait maybe for a higher low for a higher high to be created, then drop your range like this. If the higher high ends up right there, wait for a pullback and then potentially trade it higher. Okay, and the other scenario will be just to have a little pullback at the market open and just push to the upside. Okay. So those are my expectations. Again, keep in mind we were still trading within this range. Two targets are this high and this high right there. So let's see if they're gonna get tapped, and of course let's see how this festive week is actually gonna go for the dollar and for the rest of the forex market. Let's have a look at EU. So weekly time frame, again exactly the opposite of the DXY. We're having a bearish candle right there, and again we kept reacting right here for 3 weeks. Like we saw this beautiful pin bar right there indicating a lot of bullishness. Then the market pushed down, pushed up, failed to do anything. Next week push down, push up, failed to do anything, and this week we just created kind of the weekly high. We pulled back into the highs. We actually broke the previous weekly high right there. We took out the liquidity above, and then we pretty much also broke the low right there, which was a very nice delivery of price, which means that we had actually some great moves and some great opportunities to capitalize on. So again, next target for me will be this low, and not to say that for a couple of weeks I've been mentioning this one as well. So pretty much this is this big demand area that the market has been kind of inside for quite some time, but it really failed to push higher. It really failed to do anything from there. So for me, this has right now become liquidity, right? And potentially we're gonna smash through it, and then I do believe we're actually gonna reach inside this range. And for next year, it will actually be really exciting to see how the market is gonna get towards these areas right there, 1.10. How the ECB is gonna react to that. Are we gonna have a push higher, or is the market even gonna break this low right there, following kind of this bearish flow from here, breaking this low, then potentially heading lower, and yeah, reaching lands that we haven't been since 2002, right? So this is quite exciting, but again, it's too much for the long term. So let's focus on what is happening right now. So bearish candle on the week indicating a lot of bearish momentum. On the daily time frame, you can see, so what are we simply doing is we are consolidating, okay? But of course, within this consolidation, we have tons of opportunities to capitalize on. So yeah, nothing too much to extract from the day. Let's drop to the 4H, and also on the 4H, if you just open the charts like this and you just look at it. So for example, this is too much of data. But what I pretty much had is the reaction from this level, which we broke down for, I think a couple of weeks ago, 30th of November. Then we pretty much had this week right there, which I was looking to tap, but it actually never tapped, right? This was this high. So we just took out this high by a pip or something. And then we actually caused the break to the downside. But so let me drop to a lower time frame a little bit, maybe even the 50-minute, because I remember the 50-minute. So this was Monday. So on Monday, where are we? Or no, this was Tuesday. Yeah, so there we have this push lower, pull back, low again, massive pump into the high. So there was a short trade right there to be taken on Tuesday, I believe, at New York session. So go explore right there. It pretty much what it did, it kind of took out the high right here, which actually didn't. It was perfectly equal, but the market was a little bit extended, and then there was a nice push that broke structure to the downside as well. But I was traveling at that time right there. On Monday, I didn't trade at all. I skipped Monday, and then I was actually trying to trade within this price right here. It was early, I think, London session before the FOMC. There were a couple of shorts to be taken, because you can see right there, we pretty much kind of broke the structure down. We'll pull back, break down again, and this right here was a short, but yeah, it was in New York again, and yeah, I didn't take it. And then we pretty much had the FOMC, massive drop to the downside, massive pump into the highs. And then we went all the way up, right? And there was another long to be taken from, where was it? I think from here. It was on another time frame though, or something like this. You could have taken a long right there, but again, then we have 16th of December, chop, 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 massive rush into the highs in London. Then we pull back, massive long, reaching into the highs, pulling back, still remaining bullish. But then on Friday, we also had this sort of delivery. As I told you also on the DXY, the DXY was actually looking pretty nice. We had this big candle right there, which is a big buy to sell, which did not really cause a break of structure. But then you can see that the market, if this was a higher low, we should have created a new high, but we didn't. All right, we tapped inside, and what we did, we broke this structure. So this is a structure break. Then we pull back, lower high formation. There was a short, that was a beautiful short to be taken on Friday, but unfortunately I wasn't trading. Another break of structure. There is your New York pullback right here, which came inside this level. And yeah, man, this would have been a very nice trade. And also on the 1 minute, it was actually a textbook setup right here. So have a look how, where was it? Yeah, have a look how we grab liquidity above, we broke structure lower, we pull back. So pretty much your trade should have been taken from here. Had some members taking it, stop loss above 3 pips. And yeah, your first target goes into the low right there, which is 6R. Then the market pulls back pretty much to tap inside this last lower high right there. You could have taken an aggressive entry, and if you want to wait for the shift, well, yeah, you pretty much can take it on those little pullbacks right there. And if you consider this to be your demand, reacted, broke, and unfortunately this one, I think I was monitoring this one on the phone, this one pretty much got missed, right? Because this was the real shift. You would have set an order right here, but the market never reached, and then we just kept flushing lower. But yeah, EU was actually very nice. There were tons of opportunities to be taken, but yeah, I'm already in vacation mode, so I decided to do so. So what can we expect in the upcoming week? Well, keeping in mind that the market is overall bearish, DXY looks bullish. So we're definitely going to be targeting these lows. And as you can see, we just do not want to fight against this momentum. So right now, looking at this wick and saying, all right, we can expect demand, we're going to reverse, it's going to be kind of wrong, all right? So of course, I am seeing this sort of level right here where we actually started launching into the downside. So we're currently trading within this range. So if the market decides to find support from here, then initiate a pullback, I will be looking for sells from somewhere right there and then taking it into the lows. And yeah, if the market just continues to drop to the downside, well, there is nothing we can do. You can just follow continuation trades on 15 or 10 or 5 minutes to the downside, okay? And again, make sure to drop your range. So it starts from the high. Wait for the market to create a lower low. So wait for like 1 candle to the downside and 1 candle of pullback. So this is actually going to create your lower low. Drop your range, wait for above 50%, and then start striking with the shorts, targeting these lows right there, this low right there. But yeah, as I said, it's festive season right now. So I'm definitely taking a week or two of break, and possibly we will be back full-time trading from January. Okay, so this is EU bearish outlook. Let's see if we're gonna have it. Euro yen weekly time frame, we're having a huge wick right there, so that is really nice to see. So this market was really bullish at a time, and then we massively rejected. We came where it opened, and then we even closed without a wick to the downside. So that is a very bearish sign. Very nice. So again, this is caused by the weakness of the euro. And possibly we're also having weakness on the yen, on USD JPY. So the only thing that we can extract from the weekly is that this is a very bearish signal and we're having a big wick right there. So possibly, I don't believe too much in that, but we can have a little pullback to the upside and then flush lower. Okay, let's try to work it out around the daily. So you can see on the daily, we were very bullish. We had this we started on the 13th, chop 1 day, chop 2 day, massive bullishness right there. Then we went all the way into the high, rejected, and right now we're having a beautiful bearish engulfing candle. A lot of you will possibly spot this evening star formation. So for me, a retest of at least this low right there will be nice to see. So if we take this one to the 4H, yeah, pretty much again choppiness, we manipulated into the highs. And why did we actually stop right there? We took out this high, but we did not tap into anything on the left. Well, again, yeah, we never know. We just possibly took the liquidity above this high right there, and then we rushed into the downside. What we can see is that the market rushed lower. It stopped for a little bit. It spent 1, 2, 3, 4 times 4, 16 hours inside this to create a lower high, and then it dropped. Okay, so for me, I can even mark this sort of level right there as my supply. Okay, I wouldn't be waiting precisely for this high to tap, because as we said on the daily, this wick low is enough to be retested. And of course, we have this little supply just right here. Again, the target will of course be the low, because if this one is like a very nice strong high, massive flush to the downside, tons of liquidity to be taken right here. So I am definitely bearish. And again, the biggest question is, are we first going to create a lower low right there, initiate a pullback towards the 50%, form a lower high, and then jump into the downside? Or again, the other scenario will be like same for EU, and the DXY will be just a sharp drop or push to the downside or upside, and a fulfillment of those levels. So that will be not the so nice scenario, because of that, for this scenario, we will not be able to trade. Okay, but yes, pretty much I am bearish on this one. And we can clearly see how right here, even if we drop to the 15-minute, you can see the development as well. Like we again have this beautiful delivery. We had the range, manipulation of the range, break lower, retest. This is a beautiful short opportunity that happened a little bit too early. And yeah, then we just continue to create the lows. Okay, so this whole range right there in the 15-minute is my hard time frame supply. So if I'm trading EJ, this is where I will be looking to short, or at least a retest of this wick right there. So that is EJ. Let's see, it looks really good actually. All right, let's have a look at the Aussies. So starting from AU. Again, we had a very bullish push right there in the last week, and we said, okay, cool, well, the pullback is initiated. We can even see it higher into this sort of weekly range towards the 50%. But as you can see, of course, this does not always work. We initiated a little pullback, but then we rejected and we even closed bearish. Okay, so does that mean that we're gonna straight head for the lows into next week? Possibly, yes, because we also have this low right there. So pretty much this was the last demand. So this right now, the market reacted from there, but failed to cause anything. So this right now is potentially where the money is headed. This is where the liquidity is. So pretty much this is where we are potentially going to target. But the biggest question is, are we going to flush from here? So what we have, let's pay attention to this big wick. So what I see on the left is this only bearish candle right here, which is possibly, we're possibly going to examine what it is on the 4H. But we had tons of kind of weak, not weak, but flat highs right there. I can even drop them like this. And you can see that the market was kind of consolidating right there. It introduced a little bit of a bearishness to trick some sellers into the market. Then a massive bullish engulfing candle. Then we faked above the highs. This introduced new buyers into the market that were looking to buy above this level, also break and retest. And right now we're having again an evening star formation, which indicates some sellers are starting to step in. For me, a great confirmation for bearishness will be a break of this one, because right now this is not really a daily high or low, but it's still a strong kind of structural zone or level that we can explore on the 4H as well. And yeah, you can see that actually from here, which was where we really pushed into the highs, pull back, push into the highs. But if we examine also the 4H, again, where is the last higher low, guys? So a little quiz for you. Gonna give you some time. Well, you can pause the video. Well, it is this one right here. Why? Because we pushed, we pulled back. We did not really pull back a lot, but a 38.2% pullback is enough. And again, we had 2 candles that pulled back. So this is enough to actually base a pullback. And then what we did is we created a new higher high and we broke multiple structures on the left. So this one creates this as a higher low formation. We pulled back, we tried to create it here, we failed. We tried to create it here, failed, tried, but you can see we failed. And pretty much right here, this is a what I also call a flip, which we flip from demand market to supply. And right now we're headed to the downside. So pretty much this is kind of a level that we can also look to sell from, or this one, which actually looks pretty good. This is kind of the highest level that we can sell from. And yeah, for me, the 4-hourly has shifted down. So I am kind of feeling free to actually say that I'm bearish on the Aussie. And yeah, we went to tap inside this sort of range right there. We took out these highs right there, these little highs right there, and we formed this kind of very strong V shape on the top, which means that a lot of sellers also kicked in from here. And if we drop to the hour, again, yeah, it was the last day right there was slightly bit choppy, so nothing too much to extract. But again, if we also use correlation, DXY bullish, Euro bearish, EJ bearish, so far all the currencies that we analyzed were bearish or of course bullish for the dollar. So I would also expect AU to continue falling, but of course AU is a different story. It's actually, I'm gonna lie to you right now, I'm not 100% sure, but I do think NZD and Aussie are not included in the DXY. But I think this could be a big mistake, but I'm not sure. We have to check it out. I might actually check it out right now, but I do think they're not included. So the correlation between Aussie USD and the DXY is not very big. Okay, but of course I'm looking for sales. This is my analysis, pretty much looking for this low to be broken. If this low is broken, then this one is gonna expose these low right there again, because we have a lot of buyers still sitting inside this zone. So what we could have is the market tap inside, react, pullback, lower high. If you really see the market failing to break above this high and starts respecting this one, then definitely this is going to be a short, and the first target will be this low. And then if this low gets taken out, then we head to the lows. Okay, so this is my AU outlook. And AJ, of course, will be pretty much the same. We're having a huge indecision candle on the week. On the day, the market also pulled back. Well, it pretty much kind of came to retest this sort of lower low right there. It stopped right here. And again, we have sort of an evening star formation as we have on across all the currency pairs. We're going to have this wick to potentially be retested and this low to be broken in order to expose further downside. If I analyze it on the 4H, yeah, a lot of buyers were introduced right here. So this whole sell candle is also demand. So we can possibly even come inside. Oh man, what am I doing? Come inside right here and then push into the highs, but this is a bit long term. So let's see what is happening right now, right? So again, we had a push, a pullback, higher low, higher high. We flipped right here. So we changed the structure. We broke to the downside. It's not very strong. It's not very, how to say, yeah, momentous. With momentous, is there a word like this? But again, pretty much I have two levels to look for shorts. I don't see the longs too much, right? I don't see them. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if I am. Again, well, even if you say that it's long, both of us could be wrong, right? Because this is the market and the market can end up, of course, doing this all week, right? So we never know. But what I'm going to be looking for is, again, for potentially the market to pull back either to this level or, of course, to the higher level and really show me that it's actually going to fail to make a new high. Okay, and this is going to be shown on the 15-minute or lower. So wait for the pullback, lower high formation, and then potentially shorts. And I think AU looks a bit better because, again, AU has the USD inside. And if the DXY actually pumps higher, then, of course, this one is going to pump lower. And AJ is more correlated to USD JPY. So we're going to examine USD JPY in a bit. But overall, I am bearish on both Aussies. Let's have a look at the NZDs, which have been tricky for some time. And pretty much on this one, we had this very little candle last week. And this week we took out the high and then we took out the low. So that was a perfect kind of delivery. And also what is not very nice on this one is that we are tapping right now into major demand. Okay, so Aussie looks bearish, but this one is tapping into demand. So let's see how it's actually going to go into the upcoming week. But it looks like actually we first took out the low, then took out the high, and then potentially we're going to be headed to take out the low as well. So again, you can see this is what this week was all about. Choppiness, down, up, okay? And pretty much we have the same situation. I'm not going to go into great detail because if you watch the Aussie USD, NZD USD is pretty much the same. This was a higher low, this was a higher high, the market pulled back, it tried to create a higher high with this candle right here, it stopped, and right now we broke below this sort of low, higher low right there, which means that the trend is potentially changing. We have this potential supply to trade from, and we have, of course, this kind of higher one right there. Currently, there were a lot of buyers introduced from this sort of wick, which we can analyze on the hour, which again is a wick. This is again the FOMC. Again, we had this sort of range. We manipulated everything, massive pump higher. A lot of buyers were introduced, but then as the bar started to enter, the market returned back into the overall range. So keep in mind, again, all of those pairs are still within the range. But just looking at the development of them and just reading how the market is taking liquidity from the downside, from the upside, I can potentially expect that this low is going to get taken and we're going to head deeper into this sort of level on the left right here. And pretty much if I go and examine it, it's not very clear. Like we had a push, a pullback. This is a higher low. Then we massively impulse outside and we broke structure. So yeah, potentially this will be a first zone to tap. And then secondly, somewhere right here. So if we go on the, yeah, okay. So yeah, pretty much you can see the first one was actually tapped, and this is why we had this big reaction. Again, this big reaction also caused the break. So right now it's really crucial to see how the market is going to respond from this one. Because if this one breaks, then this is going to expose the lower levels and maybe even we're going to smash through this whole demand level. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen. But again, what are my expectations is to see the market respect this one, at least a little bit, then pull back, and then from here it's going to be really crucial to see if we're going to have a lower high, right? And then potential signals for shorts, or if we're going to have maybe a push, a little pullback, and then a trade into the highs. Okay, so it's very tricky. And again, keep in mind, this one is still within this range. Okay, we're just reading in between the lines right now, but it's still in the range. Okay, and the Aussie is the same. But overall, also judging from the DXY and from the overall outlook on how the most recent price action is looking like, I would expect some shorts. Okay, but again, the longs are still in play. Keep in mind that we just saw that it has tapped into a very strong level on the left. We had this massive reaction into the highs that also broke structure. And of course, this one could just be a push, pullback, and a continuation higher. Okay, so those are the two scenarios that I will be expecting. Of course, I'm not going to be trading, so I'm just going to be observing to see how it's going to go. But this is how I would approach the market, just being mindful of the shorts, but of course also being very mindful of the potential longs. And NJ, let's see, massive wick higher, broke this high. Let's analyze the daily. Broke out this wick as well right here, and then we have the strong bear. Yeah, so the JPYs are looking pretty bearish. Again, this is why just by analyzing the whole market like this, all those currencies, it gives me a very bearish outlook on the majority of the pairs. Very flat lows right there, definitely to be taken. And then kind of the last resort is this one. Did this one create something major? Not really. And this one right here was just a fake. Okay, why is it a fake? Because we just stayed above for a little bit, massive flush lower. Okay, and also if this one right here was a higher low, it should have held. It tried to hold, but it failed. Okay, so again, this means that right here, this one is creating supply. So this is where we can potentially expect the market to react from. Let's also embrace this little wick on the top. And then the second level, which actually created the liquidity grab, is this one. All right. So again, two things could happen on this one. We can straight flush for the lows to grab liquidity. Maybe we're going to respect this one, then to pull back, lower high, and then flush lower. Or first, we're going to pull back either to respect this level right there, or maybe we're going to pull back to respect the higher level and then to potentially drop lower. Okay. This one looks more bearish, unlike NU. Because NU, like with this push into the highs, looks a little bit too bullish, but this one is definitely bearish, okay? Because it's not holding from here. It's already almost broken it, and I definitely think this one is going to get taken out. Then we have to see how this one is going to respond, but definitely I do think this one could continue lower, especially after seeing the liquidity grab right here, and then a massive reversal to the downside. So outlook is bearish on NJ, bearish on NU, so let's see how this one is going to play out. UJ is still a tricky pair. I don't know what to expect on this one, especially with all the fundamentals going on right now and the US dollar and the Japanese yen both being safe haven currencies. Oh man, this is really hard to analyze, right? So we had kind of it still looks like a push and a pullback, but it still looks like a push and a pullback from the downside as well, right? But we have this push and pullback from the upside, okay? So is this market still going to push to the downside? Well, we don't know. There is a lot going on right now. So definitely very, very, very hard. If we again analyze the daily time frame, so we have broken below this higher low. We have broken below this higher low. So the market is definitely looking like bearish. And I told you again that I'm looking at this push and this sort of pullback. I want you to see the momentum to the downside and the momentum to the upside. So we have clearly a push and a very nice pullback into the highs. But again, where is the market gonna stop? Is it gonna create a lower high to push to the downside? Well, currently if we drop to the 4H, you're gonna see that we were actually looking a little bit bullish. The market pullback right here, I don't see much on the left, right? On the 4H, maybe there is something on the 15. Always go and examine what there is, because if you drop to the 15, you're gonna see this sort of level, this sort of lower high, then we push lower, right? So if you pretty much drop either the bullish candle, whatever you like to draw, supply and demand or OBs or whatever you're drawing, it's still the same. And if you drag it like this, then you can see that this is where potentially reacted from, okay? And then what we see is pretty much a very sharp introduction of sellers. And this is why all the JPYs are looking a little bit more bearish than the USDs, okay? We also wicked below this zone right here. So again, just creating the sort of outlook right here, we can see, yeah, that UJ is more bearish than bullish, but again, it's still really hard to actually see where is it going to reverse from. So currently, what I see right here on the 4H is that we have this wick, right, that kind of created a lower high and then made a lower low. And on the hour, we can clearly see it right here. So we're just tapping inside, okay? So is this going to be the level that is going to give us the lower low? So this is what we have to see at the beginning of the week. And if this is not it, then we can potentially look for the upside, which is right here, right? It's not looking like a great level, which is why we can jump on the 8 hourly, maybe 12 hours. Yeah, there is. So let's take it like that on the 12 hours, well, which is pretty much what we did. And yeah, this will be the second level for potential reaction. So let's see. What I would advise you to do right now is to, on market open, if you're trading UJ, follow the 50-minute time frame. So the last higher low on the 50-minute is this one. Let's see if it's gonna tap, fail to break below, pull back. This is your setup. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna approach UJ if I was trading next week. Okay, and if this one breaks, then of course let's examine how it's gonna respond from here with the same setup on the 15 minutes, right? Keep it simple, guys. And again, I really advise you to take a step back, just refresh your minds, take a week of a break. But overall, UJ looking bearish. So let's see. All right, let's examine the GBPs, as always starting with GU. So again, we saw earlier on my analysis on the DXY that we had a rate hike on the pound. And we saw this massive bullishness right here, but we can see actually right now that it has returned all the way down at the open and even closed bearish. All right, so very tricky situation right now on GU. And I do think it's actually going to stay like this because currently this one is fighting with all the things that are happening. Dollar is looking pretty bullish, euro is looking very bearish, and this one, although we had some good news for the rate hike, it actually could not sustain it. And on Friday, we had this massive sell-off. So again, the question is this sell-off going to sustain and head for a new lower low? So that is the biggest question. Again, in terms of fundamentals, it possibly shouldn't. But also in terms of correlation and how all the pairs are looking like, it can definitely do so, okay? So yeah, this week pretty much ranging right here. Of course, a lot of intraday opportunities to be looking at. There is one short right there. No, this pretty much happened on Monday, 13th of December. Yeah, then pretty much we kind of chopped around. There is the FOMC, massive run into the highs. There was a little long to be taken right here. Also, where is it? Yeah, this one. A lot of members from my team actually took this one. Massive run into the highs. And yeah, then we consolidated pretty much a short right here, similar to EU. But yes, so let's see. Again, it looks like shorts, as with all the pairs that I just analyzed. Like if we try to find where is kind of the last higher low formation, it looks like this one. And we just broke below this one. We also failed to make a new high right there. So we pretty much shifted. But still, as I said, with all the pairs, we're having this FOMC price action, right? This big wick that we have across all the currency pairs, and there it is also on GU. So this wick right there caused a big break of structure, right? And a lot of momentum into the highs. And then we have the rate hike, which is right here, massive pump into the highs. So again, I'm still gonna remain neutral on GU because again, if we just zoom out, what is this market doing? Well, it's chopping around, right? Since November right there, we have been very, very, very slowly moving down. Then we had some consolidation. Then we had a little bit of a shakeout to the upside. So again, is this the bullishness for the market to start making a big pullback to the upside? Well, we don't know, okay? So we just took out this high right there. We massively reacted from it. We're flushing to the downside. So for me, I would, same with EU and with AU and with all the pairs that I mentioned, I would see how the market is going to come inside this zone right there, how it's going to react. We can possibly take a long from here, but I'm also mindful of the shorts coming from the top, okay? So let's see, and then from here, if the market really shows us some bearish sentiment, potentially in the 50-minute or even higher than that, we can then potentially start looking for the shorts as well and targeting this low, okay? So this is my outlook on GU, not going into great details. It is still kind of chopping around inside this range. There are a lot of intraday opportunities to be taken. But yeah, this is how I'm going to approach it. This is where we really punched the volume. We took out liquidity right there. Massive impulse to the highs. So still we can be in this kind of push, pullback, and continuation to the upside, pairing this one with the rate hike on the pound. So let's see, pretty excited. I'm going to be looking for this. Maybe you take a long from here, then I'm going to be TPing right there, which is pretty much going to be this sort of range. So as soon as we tap above 50%, we can start preparing for shorts. And then from here to see if the market is actually going to give maybe a response and then a reversal, or if it's going to give us a full reversal to the downside. So let's see, this is how I look at the GU. But yeah, I'm definitely not trading it this week. GJ, well, pretty much again on GJ, we were stuck in this big consolidation right there. Again, we had this sort of introduction of bullishness, but is it gonna sustain, right? Pretty much what we did is we went to tap inside this weekly supply right here. We just kissed it, but sometimes this is enough. And what I really see right there is some very flat highs. So this is tons of liquidity sitting right there at the lows. And I really think that this one could smash it. And again, this is JPY. So we just actually analyzed UJ, and UJ looks a little bit more bearish. And we can see that this one is also starting to kind of look like as all the other JPYs. And the last very major demand, did I move this rectangle? I think it was somewhere right there. I don't know. The last higher low right there is here. And as you can see, we're just getting deep inside. And also if you really zoom in, actually the last one is this one right here. And what we see is that the market came, it tried to react, it failed, tried to react again, it failed. Okay, so pretty much this introduced some sellers on the short term, and this also created a brand new supply right here, but we're still staying inside this demand. So for me, if this demand fails, then we can potentially have something like this. If it doesn't break at first, we can have something like that, or maybe even a little bit higher, right? Or if it's actually gonna go bullish, if GU is actually gonna respect this one and start heading higher, then I think this can also cause GJ to potentially pull back into these sort of higher levels. Because keep in mind, we just kissed the zone. So maybe this is not enough. We might want to pull back much deeper inside right there, reject, and then flush lower. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna be looking for on UJ. It's not very clear. Again, we're having this little bullish intention right there, a retest right now. But again, let's see how it's gonna play out. Keep in mind, it's the last trading week. Is it the last one? I think it is. Yeah. So we're gonna start on 20th of December, and yeah, pretty much there we have Christmas, New Year, so definitely yeah. But let's see. This is my outlook on GJ. I am more on the bearish side. I'm just fearful that GU might actually go long, and if GU goes long, then this one is actually gonna struggle to go short. GA, I don't know what's happening with this one. Again, I just don't trade. I actually think of removing this one because I'm just kind of covering it very superficially. But yeah, like we pushed into the lows right there, and for the last couple of days we just ranged. So if I try to analyze the 4H, oh man, like we were looking a little bit bullish, then we dropped into the lows this week. Man, this is so hard, guys. What is this market doing? I'm just gonna keep it simple. It's it's ranging. All right, if we really try to read between the lines, there was a break right here with this introduction of sellers. Then this sort of level was our last lower high. We came inside, so yeah, right now we can push lower. Make sure to monitor AU, because if AU is bearish, then GA is gonna go bullish, right? But we still do not know if AU is gonna go bearish, because again, similar to GU, we still have this level to deal with. But if this level gets broken, then this one is gonna expose bullishness on GA. So let's see how this one is going to go, but pretty much I don't have any expectations on this one, and I do not understand this pair. So I actually think to remove it from for 2022. So let me know, guys. And also, yeah, Euro GBP, which is a great pair to monitor for confluences between the Euro and the pound. We took out this high right here. And yeah, then we actually saw some bearishness, which means that the Euro is weaker than the pound, which is pretty much the case. And yeah, right now on the day we had a massive pump higher. The market tried to respond from this demand right there. It responded, but it failed, and it flipped to the downside. There it is. So we responded, but we failed to cause anything. So there is our flip to the downside. What does this create? It creates supply, and we still haven't tapped inside the supply, and we're pretty much building up some flat highs right there. So if I'm to trade this one, pretty much I am more bearish than bullish on the Euro GBP, but I just do not trade this pair. So what I would love to see is possibly a push into the highs right there, and then a reversal to the downside, targeting this low right here. But again, we don't know what's gonna happen. All right, so let's see if Euro USD is actually gonna flush lower. Let's see if the pound is gonna maintain a little bit more of a bullishness, because we can see that it's pretty much bullish right now. Yeah, the overall it's bearish, but we have this kind of introduction of bullishness. So let's see how this level is going to react. And pretty much we have that FOMC wick across all the pairs. And within that wick, we have a lot of demand. So if this demand is actually broken, or if this demand fails to cause anything. So let's say that the market actually taps inside right here and starts to reject. But if we do not make a new high, and if we stop in the middle and we start rejecting, then this demand is not that strong and it's gonna break. Okay, and if we see those early signs of the market failing to make a new high after tapping into this demand, then that means that this demand is actually taken, the orders were taken from there, and then we're going to reverse to the downside. So that is a little tip that I have for you. But yes, this is how I'm going to wrap up my GBP analysis. Let's see how it's going to go. And again, keep in mind that we're getting into a festive season, a festive week, so don't have any big expectations. Well, nothing too much to add on gold. We had a wick to the downside to take out the liquidity below this low, maybe to trigger some sellers into the market. And then we initiated a bullish candle. Right now we had an inside bar from the previous week, also this one, and both of those highs were taken out, right? So all the liquidity is collected. And yeah, we had a very big range for quite some time, and just with one day we swept the lows, and then on the next day we swept the highs. So right now we're just again inside the range, right? So I don't know, it depends on the Dixie. Again, the Dixie actually went higher, and this one also went higher. So the correlation is not very nice. Again, if the DXY is actually going to go higher, then gold should start declining. And again, of course, this could be the market retesting this wick as well. And as you can see, it's very nice that it actually failed to close above it. And they just went to take out any supply that was left within this wick. And right now we can potentially expect a breakout to the downside. All right, but still looking at this big bullishness, I'm a little bit afraid to actually just go short like this. So yeah, my advice for you guys will be to wait for a push lower, wait for the market to start to create a higher low, because right now this is a higher high, right? So we have a push, come on, we have a push, a pullback. We usually expect a higher high, all right? But if we pull back, if we create a higher low, then if we push higher, but if we fail to make a new high, right? So if we stop somewhere right there, then potentially if we make a new lower low right here, then this is going to be our confirmation that next time we return right there, we can have a short. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna approach it. Just wait a little bit more. Don't rush to sell it just yet, because we never know what's gonna happen, and the current intention of the market is bullish. Okay, so don't rush it, give it some time. And again, keep in mind that gold has been tricky for some time, but I do think that very soon we're gonna have some moves, because yeah, it has to move. It's been chopping around since the 20th of November. So let's see how we're actually gonna go into 2022 with gold. Not a very big development on the indices as well. There is a lot of indecision going on right now, and yeah, you can see that we're having an overall bearish candle, but still, like, the analysis from last week remains. I'm still looking for a deeper pullback on the indices. Usually the pullbacks are happening exactly in the upcoming week. So let's see if we're gonna have actually a Christmas discount for the indices. But pretty much if we pull back inside this level, I will be looking for buys. So nothing too much to update on. We had some bullishness right there. We broke daily structure and full hourly structure. We spotted that this was actually the pullback, and potentially we're actually expecting a new higher high. So let's see if we're gonna pull back this week into the lows around 34.80, and then potentially reverse from there. But nothing too much to add. Nasdaq is already into this level, so we came inside. Actually, we responded from it, but then we came inside again. So this is not a great signal, because yeah, we had the big buy, but then the big buy was immediately sold off. All right, so this means that this market is not yet ready to reverse into the highs, and we might actually have a little bit of a pullback lower. So let's see. I still keep those levels, and even a bigger pullback into this sort of level right there, into 15K. That will be really nice for potential long. So again, give it some time. Keep in mind that we're just ranging right now still on Nasdaq as well, and I would expect a bigger return to the downside, because we simply see the market tapped, it gave us a big push, it actually failed to make a higher high, and then we pushed lower and we broke below this low right there. So is this just a liquidity grab right now to take out the liquidity right there? Maybe it went deeper into this wick actually to tap inside this wick, which we did not into this move right here. And right now, is it ready to explode? Let's see. All right, only time will show us, but I would love to see a little bit more of a dip to the downside on Nasdaq. And I'm getting my funds ready to pour some money into Mr. S&P. An overall bearish week, but what actually makes sense is that we broke out the high, and we pretty much created an all-time high for just a second on the 16th of December. But then we started to initiate lower. So my first buy will be right here around 46, a little bit lower than 46. and then I'm just gonna dollar cost average it. And if we pull back right there, this is gonna be a big capital pour into this index, because that is an 8% drop, which is great for S&P. So let's see, we're already in this pullback. We already took out the liquidity below this lows. Are we gonna pull back inside right here, which is where I have my alert right there? I actually want to round it up towards 80. Yeah, I'm doing this right now. I shouldn't, but let me do it. And yeah, I will be potentially looking to scale in or dollar cost average on my holdings on the index. So yeah, this is how I'm actually looking at it. Cryptos, I am looking to buy some Ethereum, not that much Bitcoin. Yeah, possibly Bitcoin if it drops a little bit. We have been cooking right now right here. Usually something happens at the end of the month with crypto, or at the beginning. You can see last kind of September, October opened, massive flush. Then November opened. We had again the development start to kick in. So let's see. But yeah, I'm still kind of bullish again, as long as we remain above 39,600. So as long as we remain above, yeah, I am bullish. So let's see if we can stack up some more on Bitcoin right here. And yeah, Ethereum, I had a couple of alerts pinging me right there. I didn't buy. I still don't trust it as much because it's still kind of bearish, right? And again, uncertainty is very high with crypto right now. But yeah, it looks like we actually shifted the structure. We pull back. This could have been a nice buy, and right now it looks like it's headed higher. But still, I would really love to see another dip, another Christmas dip deeper into those levels. And if we actually come below this wick right there, I'm gonna be buying more. Okay, so nothing too much to add on these one as well. We're still in this big range, all right, when we can definitely expect a bigger pullback, because if I drop a normal FIP, normal 61 point, it hasn't been tapped, and I would love to buy within this pocket right there, within this whole pocket, which is a great discount area. So let's see if we're gonna have a deeper pullback and then to potentially scale in more on my holdings. All right. But guys, this is how I would wrap up this weekly outlook. I hope I kept it short. I don't think so. I love talking. I love sharing value. So I really hope you enjoyed it. I wish you an amazing Christmas holidays, guys. Again, make sure to take a break, leave the market for a little bit, refresh your minds. Again, journal a little bit, review your year, prepare for next one, set some goals as well. And yeah, we're about to jump into a brand new year. So make sure to review also this year, see where you improved, what you did, what you learned, and what are your learning goals for next year. As I said, I'm also planning on some content as well for next year. I'm currently revamping our course. A lot of more stuff is definitely gonna be coming into the community, which is gonna be slowly being rolled out. So make sure that you can also consider joining the Fanatic family before all the new updates, because also the prices are gonna change and all of that good stuff. All right. So I wish you an amazing weekend and an amazing week ahead of you guys, and talk to you on my next video, which I do not know where it's gonna be. But in the meantime, feel free to send me any feedback you have, any content ideas, or anything you would like to tell me.